Hello, how is everyone tonight? It is 8:02 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I'm doing a live stream. I've got the Q&A open. If you are watching through Google Plus, if you've got any questions for me, you can tweet them at my Twitter there at Pizow, and I will be monitoring very closely the YouTube comments. So. Yeah, what's going on tonight? How are you guys? What's everybody up to? Um, Hope you guys are all doing well, as I am. I hope that I'm coming through loud and clear as well. If I'm not, somebody let me know. But yeah, what's going on tonight, guys? What are y'all up to on this fine Tuesday evening, July 1st, 2014. I hope that I'm coming through loud and clear as well. If I'm not, somebody let me know. But so a couple of things I wanted to talk about in this live stream are the Halloween box set, the complete collection, which is coming out later this year. I've had quite a few people message me about that, and I did a midweek chat video that got a pretty big response to a lot of feedback about that set. Kind of surprisingly, it seems like to me that most people are a little, what's the word, unenthused about that release. So let me, I mean, the thing about that release is, for me, as for a lot of people, it is the price. I mean, $118. Considering that, if you're a fan of that series, someone who would be inclined to want to buy the entire box set, there's a real good possibility that you probably already own all the movies on some format or another, and this is going to be a pretty steep double dip. And a couple of things that I think are unique about the Halloween set that sets it apart from some of the other box sets that we've invested a lot of money in, and that have been double dips along the way, is it is the first time that set has ever been offered complete, all together, all the films. And I've had several people over the years ask me if I ever thought that would happen, if I ever thought I would see a complete Halloween box set. And my response was always no. Not going to happen. Won't happen. The series is, the series is separated. The series is divvied up amongst like 6 different companies. So I mean, there's just no way that they're all going to come together to create a box set. Of course, now that's happening. And of course, for the very first time, Halloween 6, the producer's cut, is being offered in the set as well. And of course, that's another big plus. However, it is a really steep double dip. I mean, even if you haven't seen Halloween 6, the producer's cut, and I kind of find it shocking. I mean, if you wanted to watch that movie and you haven't, because it's just so, bootlegs of that movie are just absolutely readily available, and some of them are fairly decent quality considering that it's more or less a rough work print of the movie. So yeah, a couple of interesting things that stand out about that set. Of course, the third thing that stands out about that set, like I said, is the price. And $118 is a little steep. I wouldn't be shocked if they do release a standalone Halloween 6 the producer's cut Blu-ray just on its own. And I really hope that they do that, so that people who aren't going to shell out that kind of money for this set can at least get a quality Blu-ray release of Halloween 6 the producer's cut. And I'm really hoping that that movie has a lot of special features with it. I think that movie deserves... that movie could really have its own sort of feature-length documentary just about the movie, and why we didn't see that version of the movie in the theater, and how it's been just probably the most bootlegged film ever. Well, not the most bootlegged. I think Night of the Living Dead is probably the most bootlegged film ever. But Halloween 6 the producer's cut would definitely be right up there. So let me know what you guys think. I posted on Facebook the other night asking, what special features or list of special features or extras do you want to see on that set that would make it worth the $118 price tag, that would make it worth the double dip, or make it worth shelling out that kind of money for the set? Are there any special features that you really want to see on that set that's going to push it over the edge? If you're sort of riding the fence, you don't know if you want it, but you don't want to spend that kind of money, what special feature or list of special features is going to really push you over the edge to make you want to buy that set? So let me know. Myself, personally, I really think Halloween needs its own, Never Sleep Again or Crystal Lake Memories documentary. I'm talking about, 4 hours of everything Halloween related. 25 Years of Terror was a great documentary, but something more, something a little bit better, something a little bit more in depth. I think that's definitely what we need. That's what I would really want. That would help me shell out that kind of money for this release. So that's my first question to you guys. What special features or list of special features or extras will sort of push that set over the edge into something that you would definitely want to buy if you're sort of riding the fence? Let me see if we've got any questions. Cineplanet, what's going on, man? He says he is chain watching House of Cards at the moment. Awesome. I love House of Cards. If you're talking about the Kevin Spacey version that's on Netflix, I love House of Cards. Really liked both those seasons. Kevin Spacey's just an amazing actor, and he proves it with that series. I mean, he'd proven it over the years already, but I think that series just really, really phenomenal. Really phenomenal series. If you guys aren't watching House of Cards and you have Netflix, you absolutely should. Am I pumped for Avengers Age of Ultron? I don't think I've really heard anything about that movie aside from the fact that James Spader was cast as the villain, and this was some months ago. So I'll probably watch it based solely on that because I think James Spader's a great actor. And so, yeah. Oh my God.
What's up, player?
What's going on, dog? We've got a special guest dropping in.
Last minute.
You may know.
Can you hear me?
Last minute. Well, yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you loud and clear. What's going on, man? It's CK from over at Deadpit. How are you, man?
I'm fine, man. I'm just warm outside, trying to keep it cool here in Eastern Kentucky, and it's I'm failing miserably. I'm still hotter than hell. So I got me a cold water here. I'll be fine here in just a couple minutes. What's going on?
Oh.
What's the topic tonight? That's what I was asking you on Facebook.
It's totally open for them. I mean, I've got the Q&A open so people can ask us questions. I was going to talk. I've talked about the new Halloween set just a little bit here to begin. And I know you've talked about that on Deadpit, but if you don't mind to reiterate, what's your thoughts on the Halloween set as I take a drink of ice cold water because I'm also melting?
I honestly think, it's like, how much can you bleed dry from the rabid Halloween fan, And my only complaint, really, it's fine that they're finally releasing all these films in one set. I understand that. That's cool, and the set looks cool, and it's overpriced, which what is it retailing like 160 whatever, 169.99.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can get it on Amazon pre-order for like 118, I think.
Yeah, I would be fine with it. I wouldn't complain at all if that producer's cut was released by itself too. You know,
Yeah,
um, I think it's bullshit to make people, because you and I have bought these movies over and over and over again. I have like two versions of Halloween 2 on Blu-ray already,
yeah. Oh,
and
me
I'm gonna
too.
buy
Yeah, yeah,
another one. So
yeah. Well, and it looks like it's the same exact one that the Scream Factory release. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know they're doing some new extras, like some commentaries and stuff like that, but at the same time, I mean, when the Friday the 13th set came out, what was there? I think there was right about the same amount of films, maybe one or two films less. And it was like I remember getting it for like $60 or something. And a
yeah,
lot of those movies weren't even on Blu-ray either. Like they were debuting on Blu-ray. It didn't feel like you were totally, and people were complaining then too. But I mean, it didn't feel like you were getting quite the the balls deep raping that you're going to be getting if you
yeah.
purchase this this Halloween set.
Well, actually, what was funny was like the WB shop, they were offering a percentage of a discount on that set if you order it through them. And if your order was over a certain price, they ordered an additional percentage off. So, I mean, you could buy it from them and get like $20, $30 off, and they had no idea, but they eventually stopped that. I tried to post that and get that out as much as I could, but they
Yeah.
eventually stopped doing that because they were getting it for $30 off.
Yeah, I
So,
think that you were the one that I remember that you posted something on Facebook about it, and because I wasn't sure I was going to get that set either, but I don't know, maybe they'll do something like that for the Halloween set. I'm doubting it because it's Scream Factory. Like most of Scream Factory stuff is just through the roof. If you get a
yeah,
Scream Factory title on sale, it's like $18, just
yeah.
one
Well, see,
movie. So
that's why I've kind of stopped buying the Scream Factory releases because it just seems like they've gone from $20 to $25 to $30.
yeah,
Like the prices have just steadily gone up and up and up. So the only time I buy, and like the last batch of Scream Factory stuff I got was their Summer of Fear sale. They were selling it for like $16.99, which I mean, better than paying 30 for it, but still,
right.
you know.
Yeah, Scream Factory too. Like I think that they made a mistake last year. Like they released, and this year they're paying for it. I think a little bit because they released so many awesome titles right in a row, and now you've got stuff like, they've got Ravenous, and I mean, not shitting on those movies or anything, but like Final Exam and movies that a lot of people aren't really that familiar with, and they only have like a couple of like must buys that I've seen this year so far.
Yeah. Lake Placid, a collector's edition Blu-ray of Lake Placid. Who's waiting for that? And
Yeah,
I mean you're totally right. I mean they blew their load. I mean they delivered Halloween 2, Halloween 3. They gave us awesome editions of The Howling, The Burning. I mean just so many. And then it's like, oh wow, what do we got left? The Final Terror and Final
yeah.
Exam and Lake
They've got like
Placid.
a lot of stuff like there's that killer rat movie that Steve always goes on about. I can't remember, Deadly Eyes or something. And a lot of stuff like people I've never even seen a lot of these movies. So I mean I guess it's cool that it's coming out, but I think Scream Factory should come out with like a budget line for like Final Exam and Final Terror and all those
Yes.
like I mean,
Yeah, I totally agree.
$10, $12 for the Blu-ray and I'd be all over it. I'd support it just for that, but 25, $26 for the Final Exam or whatever it is, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, but I had asked everybody out there, um, are there any specific, and I'll ask you, are there any specific like special features or extras that you would want to see on this Halloween box set that would make it worth the price? Like for me, I said Halloween definitely needs an hours long Never Sleep Again or Crystal Lake Memories type documentary. That would kind of, I don't know if that would push it over the edge for me, but that would definitely I would want it more that way.
Yeah, I think there should be some, you know, because it seems like most of these titles, at least so far, it's just a rehash of the stuff that's we've already got. Especially, you know, for some odd reason they've got two different versions of Halloween on Blu-ray. They got the original Blu-ray. They've got the Blu-ray that came out last year. So you're just really packaging all this crap together. Um, I agree with they should do a 2 or 3 hour documentary, but I doubt that's happening. We've heard about that by now. I would predict Dan Franz will probably go back and do that at some point,
Mm.
probably by himself. I think it's cool if they can do the commentaries for each of the films, like a new commentary, something like that. But for the price they're asking, man, like I don't know. Um, if I can catch it on sale, like I was saying, might pick it up if it was $60 or something like that, which I highly doubt. It's just,
Oh yeah.
I think that's an awful lot of money to fork over for a bunch of stuff that people already have. It's cool that we got the H2O commentary, but who cares? I mean, Halloween H2O's fine, I guess, but it's not a movie. Like, I probably haven't seen that movie in 10 years.
Yeah.
Not a big fan. And they could get Jamie Lee to do a commentary for Resurrection as well. Not that I'd care. I mean, it's a shitty movie. You know, um,
I'd
what
much
pisses
rather
me
hear a
off.
commentary on Halloween too.
Yeah, I mean, she should do a commentary for Halloween 2. And going back to the Friday the 13th set, how in the hell is Steve Miner doing a commentary for Halloween H2O, and he will not talk about any of the Friday the 13th films?
Yeah,
How does
exactly.
that
I
make
posted that on Yeah, I posted that on Facebook. I was like, so Steve Miner will sit and do a commentary for Lake Placid, but he refuses to talk about anything Friday the 13th related.
Yeah, I don't get it. And Friday the those films is what made his career. I mean, that's what started his damn career. You figured he would at least want to. He wasn't even in the Crystal Lake Memories at all. I don't think either, was he?
He was interviewed in the book, but he wasn't in the documentary.
Right, the documentary. I mean,
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't. I
so
mean, I don't get that. I don't get that. He
I think it
probably
would
he
be
probably
cool.
holds he probably holds his Day of the Dead remake in higher regard than he does any of those Friday the 13th movies.
I think he did a commentary for that, but no, he won't talk about
Ah,
Friday the 13th. Um, I think it'd be cool to do a documentary on, um, and maybe they'll do this. Maybe this would be a brief 20, 30-minute thing on Halloween 6 and the producer's cut and all the history behind that. I think that'd be
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I'm really hoping they do because I think they could do a feature-length documentary on that about why that wasn't the movie that was released and about how I mean, aside from Night of the Living Dead, I mean, the producer's cut's got to be the most heavily bootlegged movie ever, and
Yeah.
it's been out there for so long.
Well, what Dimension or whoever, I think it was Disney that owned it for a while, which I can understand why they wouldn't release it, but they've lost so much money on that over the years. And I guess they're cashing in, with this set. Because I do see them in probably 6 to 8 months. They'll come out with the single edition of Part 6 after they've got everyone's money. That, but like I was saying, that's $160 retail or whatever for all these movies that we already have, just so we can get like a couple commentaries, some new interviews, and the producer's cut.
Hmm.
It's kind of crappy to do your
Yeah,
fans. That's in my opinion, but
yeah. Well, and I mentioned this too right before you joined, but it seemed like the sentiment among fans when that movie was, or when that box set was sort of announced, was just sort of like, like, oh, that's a lot, yeah, but it's a lot of money. It wasn't like,
right.
it's like the Friday the 13th set. I mean, there was far more excitement for that release.
Oh yeah,
It just seems like the Halloween fan, they're just like, I mean, because like you said, we've all probably got, if you're a fan of this series, you've already got how many editions of the original Halloween, so you're looking at not just a double or a triple dip, but in some cases, a quadruple dip.
right, exactly. And I mean, for me too, like, I'm a huge Halloween fan. Like, I mean, this is coming from somebody that went to that damn Jamie Lee Curtis convention and shelled out what oh my God, it was like over probably $300 to get my photo, get a couple of autographs from her and stuff like that. I'm not
Yeah.
at this moment in time. I'm not buying that box set. You know, so I mean, think about that. If it's for me, and I'm sure people will, because I know how these. I'm not gonna say these. I know how horror fans are. I'm one of them. I was this way for a while. I just think eventually you kind of got to wake up a little bit and realize, that's a lot of money. That's not chump change just to be spending to get some interviews, a new version of Halloween 6, and essentially the same shit you already bought. You know,
Yeah.
I guess you could be
Yeah.
creative and go and resell all your stuff on eBay, but I don't know how much money you would get for that. But sure, people will be doing
Yeah.
that as well.
Probably. Yeah. So I mean, I don't. I'm kind of on the fence. I mean, if I don't like save up some gift cards after my birthday, or it doesn't come down in price, I'm just not. I don't know if I'm. I don't know. I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
and like we were saying, it's Scream Factory. That stuff's not going to come down in price. I don't think. Their
Not
stuff just
much. Not
does.
much. Or they'll mark it down like $20 and they'll give us these coasters.
Yeah, you can get some
Yeah.
coasters, and if you order it
Yeah.
from their website, you'll get like this nifty poster or a
Yeah.
nurse hat or something like they. And
Well,
not to discount what they do, though. I mean, I love Scream Factory. I just think like they could have been a little smarter with this release and a few other releases. I think that they're asking the fans um, too much of the money, I guess.
yeah, I agree. Or remind me to mention the Nightbreed director's cut, which they announced today. And we've got a question here from How Bizarre. He wants to know if we're going to the midnight screening of Deliver Us from Evil, or if we're gonna watch it another day. Are you gonna watch Deliver Us from Evil?
I might watch it just because that's the first movie I can think of in forever that's a horror movie that's coming out in a theater. So I don't. I mean, I haven't really heard a whole lot about that movie. What about you? I mean, you're gonna go see it?
Yeah, I'm gonna go see it probably. I'm gonna see if I can't sneak away from work a little early tomorrow and try and catch like a 4 o'clock show. Because I think it does look kind of interesting, and like you said, I mean, if you look at what's going to be released for the rest of this year as far as horror is concerned, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's only been a handful of horror releases in theaters this year, and I think there's only I mean, I can't even think of any off the top of my head that are coming out for the whole entirety of the rest of the year theatrically. So,
What really even came
um,
out? I know Oculus and what was like that. There wasn't a whole lot that even came out so far this year, really.
the only thing I remember Oculus, Devil's Due.
Yeah, Devil's Due.
Wasn't there another one of those Eli Roth presents like a possession movie, a sequel?
I'm not
Did
sure.
that come out this
Oh,
year?
was that Last Exorcism too? That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Was it last year? Okay.
God, that was
The only
horrible,
two
man.
that
Have you seen that one?
no, I've not seen the
Oh
first one. I've
God,
not seen either. Yeah.
I actually enjoyed the first one, but that sequel was like just I can't believe it was actually in the theater. I watched it on DVD when it came out. It was
It's
bad.
it's the name Eli Roth. You put Eli Roth on a movie, 1,000 screens, 2,000 screens. Man, he sells tickets.
Yet his movie's probably not going to be in a theater.
Yeah, was that the Green Inferno
As
or
long as he
whatever?
presents something, he's good. But directed by Eli Roth, direct to DVD.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody wants to know when CK is going to be on the Sausage Factory, and
Well,
we'll see soon.
we're in contract negotiations right now, I guess you would say.
Yeah, we're going over the contract stipulations right now. My people are discussing it with his people. Residuals,
I have to
ancillary
have
rights,
some
stuff like
green
that.
M&Ms, just green,
Exactly, exactly.
all that
But yeah,
stuff.
it'll happen. I think it'll happen. We just have to, because CK does his show on Thursday nights as well. So
That's true.
we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, definitely. Because
But
I like all those guys. Like I know most of them that's on on the Sausage Factory. So B Junior, I've hung out with a few times at shows, and I think you guys had James on a few times, right? The DVD collector.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's one of the founding members.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah,
yeah, I mean I know all. I think I know pretty much all those guys. So it'd be cool
yeah,
to
yeah.
see
I
him.
mean, yeah. I mean, all good folks, all good people, all good. So yeah, definitely that'll happen sooner or later. CK will get inducted into the Sausage Factory Hall of Fame.
What you gonna do, brother? We didn't get to talk about
Well,
the pay per view though. I did watch it, and
oh, so your internet allowed you at least got to see some of it.
well, thanks to the WWE Network, you can watch it whenever
Oh, okay. Oh
you
yeah, that's
can
right.
catch
That's
up
right.
on things. Oh man, I mean it wasn't a bad show. I mean just real quick because I'm sure people don't care about this, but um, I mean it was okay, but I think it was really predictable overall.
Mm.
They're kind of in that go with the flow thing right now where they're just whatever happens, who cares? We know what we want to do for SummerSlam. We're kind of just coasting until then.
Yeah, yeah. I think I really liked I really liked the Money in the Bank match for the briefcase. I really liked it. There was some crazy spots in that match. It was a lot of
Yeah,
fun, but it just seemed like everything after that match, like the crowd was just burnt, like they were just worn out. And there really wasn't that much great going on after that match. And then the ladders match for the title just seemed flat to me. It seemed rushed. I mean, I was fully expecting John Cena to win because, I mean, if there's ever a setback or a mishap or, if all else fails, when they say plan B, John Cena is always their plan B. You know what I
oh
mean?
yeah.
If all else fails, put the belts on Cena.
Well, I guess with Cena though, like they kind of, I know that they have to realize like people are sick to death of Cena, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I guess they trust him, and they know he can get the job done, and he's always going to be there. At least it seems that way right now. So
Hmm.
I think he's just kind of the title holder until Brock gets it at SummerSlam, which I see
Yeah,
happening.
that's what. Yeah, I was fine with him holding it as long as Brock takes it from him at SummerSlam because Brock's got to come back for SummerSlam, and whoever stands in his way's got to get annihilated. I don't care who it is; they've got to lose. You can't let Lesnar in the streak and then turn around and get beat by anybody. So I think he's got a. I really hope it's just an absolute destruction of John Cena at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and I think it. Let's see, what was that match? It was a couple of years ago at Extreme. I think it was Extreme Rules when Brock beat the shit out of Cena the entire time, and then Cena kind of come back at the end, and that was actually I remember that being one of the Cena's best matches too. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong on that, but I remember that being a great match. So I think that yeah, they'll give it to Brock, and he'll probably hang on to it until WrestleMania and just defend it a couple of times. He'll be like, The Rock when he
Yeah.
was a champ there for a few months.
Yeah, because they've
Just
only got him. They've only got him under contract for a few shows and a few pay-per-views. So I mean, they can't really work him too much.
yeah, I mean, I guess they could sign him for a few more dates. He kind of just works per appearance. They have him so many dates. So while he's champion, maybe they could get him to do a pay per view every month, and maybe the Raw after the pay per view, before the pay per view, or something. So I
Yeah.
think it's a good idea, and it seems to me that the whole thing with Daniel Bryan is kind of up in the air. They don't really know what in the hell is going on with him. He talked about maybe having to have more surgery done on his neck, I think, which that
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And Bad News Barrett got hurt again. Hurt the same shoulder that he hurt. What was it, a couple of years ago that put him out forever?
Yeah, I actually heard he's going to be out for a few more months this time. I mean, I don't know if they've said how many, but I know they said on Raw, which that sucks for him. I mean, he was starting to get that character really
Oh
over,
yeah.
and he was having some
Yeah.
great matches too.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
agree.
yeah,
I
they're in a
agree.
weird
Yes, he
spot
did.
right now. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens the next few months. Usually, when they have these injuries come along to some of their top guys, it kind of forces them to create new stars. So we'll see
Yeah,
if that happens. I mean, Cena's the champion again right now, and I know people are kind of bitching about that, and I understand why. I mean, holy shit, Cena's been there forever. But at the
yeah,
same time, I think that he's just he's just a title holder right now. You know, they don't really have a long term plan with him as a champion. Um,
yeah,
so hold your horses,
yeah,
folks.
yeah. I agree. I agree totally. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty good pay per view. I thought the Money in the Bank match really sold it for me. But yeah, that the last one, the main event, was a little flat. But yeah,
Yeah, I thought that
anyway,
the opening tag match was awesome with
yeah, it was.
the Usos and the White dudes. Enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'm always impressed by like crap, I forget his name, the dark haired one with the dirty shirt. He does a lot of really, he's really impressive for a guy's size. I mean, flying through the ropes and some of the stuff that he does is really impressive.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think
So
both those guys. I mean, for what they do, and I know. I think Luke Harper's the one you were talking about, and Eric Rowan's
yeah,
the big redhead beard dude, red bearded dude. He don't have anything on his hair,
yeah,
on his head. For his experience, I don't think he's been wrestling that long, and I know they're really impressed with both of those guys. So I thought they were going to give the titles to those guys. I was kind of surprised they didn't, but maybe that'll be like a long term feud with
yeah,
those teams.
yeah. Well, somebody on Twitter, actually, I'm sorry, Steve, Spy the Movie Guy on Twitter, actually mentioned Jack Swagger because Jack Swagger was the guy who hurt Bad News Barrett, and apparently, according to Steve, he's hurt several other guys. So,
I know. I'd heard about that. Yeah, like for years he's seriously injured a few people. I know. I think he injured Dolph Ziggler for many months there, and maybe it was CM Punk that he injured back in the day. CM Punk was out for a while. I can't
I don't
remember.
remember.
He's injured quite a few.
So, yeah, that yeah, and there it looks like they're trying to set Swagger up in a program with Rusev. I can't believe I was actually rooting for Jack Swagger the other day when he was in the ring with Rusev.
Man,
but,
you know
but,
something
but
I noticed about Rusev though?
what's that?
Here's what he should do. He could be the new Taz. Just shave his head. He would look exactly like Taz circa ECW.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep, that's true.
I just noticed that. I was like, man, if he shaved his head, he would look exactly like Taz.
Yeah,
Same
yeah,
style too, similar style at least in
yeah.
the ring.
What's funny about Swagger, and I think it might actually be a good program that Swagger will come out on top, but like people seem to, I don't know if it's necessarily Swagger that they dig, but it's the We the People thing. I mean, that always gets a huge reaction, and when
Yeah,
Swagger came out, he got a big pop. So I mean,
and they had the
maybe
shirt
we're
now with
seeing.
the outline of the hand and
Oh
stuff. That
yeah,
was pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So maybe we're seeing a Jack Swagger revival in WWE.
That'd be interesting. Swagger's like one of those guys though that's just there, like Kofi Kingston. Like he's always going to have a job. He's always there, but they're never
Yeah.
really going to do a damn thing with him. And Dolph
And
Ziggler
what's
seems
funny
to be
is,
one of those guys too.
yeah, what's funny is Kofi actually got a win on over Cesaro on Raw, which
Yeah, I
was
was
kind of
kind of
surprising.
surprised. Yeah, Kofi's awesome,
So
man. I mean, I guess it's just the point where he's just been there and kind of been a glorified jobber for so long. They're never really going to do much with him, but they give him a bone here, there. You know.
I heard he had some heat with somebody backstage, and that kind of screwed him over. He either had heat with Triple H or it might have been Randy Orton, and that definitely slowed him down. They put the
Yeah, I
brakes on
know.
him after that.
He was best for. I know he's probably still best friends with CM Punk, and they used to like travel together, and I think they actually shared a tour bus together and stuff like that. I don't know if it had anything to do with that. I doubt it, but I don't know. Seems like a lot of
Yeah.
people have heat with Triple H nowadays.
Let's see. Christopher Clont asked us if there going to be a new Halloween movie. Apparently there is. Who knows when you're dealing with like the Weinstein Company, because from what I read, they were 2 weeks away from shooting the Halloween 3D that like Todd Farmer and Patrick Lussier were going to do. a couple of years ago, and they just abruptly stopped it, stopped production 2 weeks before they started shooting. And so I know Malika Akkad was at the Saturn Awards, and he was talking about it, and he was saying, it's going to happen, but when it's going to happen, I don't know. So, have you heard anything about the new Halloween movie, CK?
It'll eventually happen, I'm sure. It's just, I'm sure like 100 years from now there will be new Halloween movies. But no, I mean, I don't know where they can really go after those Rob Zombie movies. It's gonna be tough if they actually do a. Are they going to do a sequel, or are they going to do a remake of the series again, like they're going to do with the Friday the 13th movie, or what?
He actually said um, it would be kind of the continuation of Rob Zombie's Halloweens, like some of the same characters, but it would be a whole other, with some new. It was weird the way he said it. It's a continuation, but it's not. So who knows? Who even knows? But
at this point, it doesn't really matter. I mean,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, and you
it's
know
going to be
what?
what
And
it
you
is.
know what? Yeah, and you know what? They'll probably, like they did with Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, they'll look at other people to direct it, and then they'll crawl back to Zombie, and he'll be like, "Sure, pay me, I'll do it. I'll do part 3."
Yeah, we were talking about that on the show too. Like, I know it's been a month or two ago, whenever the 31 movie was announced and all that. But right
Yeah,
before that, they were talking about Halloween 3 in 3D, pretty hardcore there. And I think that if they do it, Rob Zombie will direct it. I really do. I think that even though, in my opinion, both of those movies weren't very good, he's got this audience that just they love everything that he does. And with the Halloween, the franchise too. I mean, I just can't see, unless they do a complete reboot, I can't see anybody doing a sequel to those Rob Zombie movies other than Rob Zombie. I just don't think anybody else could do it and pull
no,
it off and make
no,
it successful.
no. I mean, I could see them, maybe bringing back, you know, Scout Taylor Compton and Tyler Main, but I mean, there's just no way that they could follow that style and that kind of storyline with those kind of characters that Rob Zombie created. Because I mean,
Right.
I don't know if anybody would want to see that. I think even Rob Zombie fans, I think it would be a stretch for them to want to see more of that. But
hmm And
who
going
knows?
back to that box set, those Rob Zombie movies are also in there. But what's interesting is they put both the unrated versions in there, which is, to me the better version, at least of part two, I remember for sure was the theatrical version. And you can't hardly, I don't even know if you can get that on Blu-ray.
No, the only place you could get that was on DVD,
Yeah, and it
the
was like,
theatrical version.
I think it may have been only in like rental stores and stuff too. I don't know. It's kind of hard to find the theatrical version of part two, and
Yeah, I
maybe
know.
part one
I
as
know.
well. But I remember, and I've got part two actually on Vudu, by the way. I'm a Vudu child, but I haven't watched it since I saw it in the theater. And as bad as that movie was, the unrated version made it 10 times worse, in my opinion. Like, I thought the unrated version was like, I can't believe that I guess Rob Zombie said that was his preferred version. Because at
Yeah,
least in the
yeah,
theatrical version, you're kind of questioning what really happened. Was that Michael, or was that Laurie doing the killing?
right,
Which
right.
that was the only thing that I kind of liked about that movie. But that was completely gone in the unrated versions, I remember.
Yeah, yeah. It's I don't know. I don't know. I kind of liked Halloween 2 just because that seemed to me like Rob Zombie's Halloween. Like Rob Zombie's Halloween seemed like his interpretation of John Carpenter's Halloween. That Halloween 2 at least felt like it had the Rob Zombie stamp on it. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like how with the Friday the 13th Blu-ray set, they only gave us the theatrical rated version of Jason Goes to Hell, when that unrated version was available all the way back when it first came out on video. So I mean, I have no idea
Right.
why they didn't include that. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, and there wasn't. It's not like there were that many. You don't see a lot of that in Blu-ray. You remember like the seamless branching stuff that was out on DVD, where with chapters chopping it up, you can have both versions of the film there easily, and they'll
Yeah,
fit on
yeah,
a one DVD or one Blu-ray or whatever. I don't know why they don't do more of that. Have you can have the unrated and the theatrical version of both Rob Zombie Halloween films. Makes more stuff like that available, in that set, because
yeah,
it's not like we're not going to be paying a premium for that fucking thing. So
yeah, really, yeah, really. If you guys have any questions for me or CK or both of us, make sure to ask them in the comment section on the YouTube channel or on the YouTube video page, or if you're watching via Google Plus in the Q&A section, or on Twitter at Pizal. We've got a question from Paper Clown. He asks, Pizal, have you ever seen the documentary Rewind This? It's about people who collect old weird movies and bootlegs and stuff. I've not seen it, but I've heard of it. It sounds really interesting. It sounds like something I'd like to see. Have you seen that, CK? Rewind this?
no, I think there's a couple of those the VHS documentaries that's out there now. Um, I know Lewis Judson from Masker Video, who I think he was in one of those. It might have been Rewind This, but yeah, I mean, there's a whole subculture of VHS collecting. There's people that um, only watch a movie on VHS. That's they. It's crazy. I mean, hey, but we all collect stuff. We all have our own thing that we enjoy. So more power to them if they enjoy the
Yeah.
VHS big box. I remember my girlfriend actually, her brother. We were looking up in her attic where her brother used to. He moved out finally. Um, and he has those big box porno tapes up there. He had like a whole tote full of like, there's one called Big Black Ass or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, man, these are cool. And I remember, because you and I are around the same age, we grew up around that era of the mom and pop video stores and stuff like that. And
Oh yeah.
you remember the section with the beads hanging in, and you could peek in there and see all the dirty videos and shit like that. Like
Oh
that
yeah.
was a big part of my childhood. I was like, what's going on in there?
Yeah, but yeah, there. I wish I'd kept all the VHSs I'd had over the years, because I mean I had a ton of them, and I really wish I'd kept them.
Right.
But yeah, there's a huge, like you said, there's a subculture of VHS collectors, and especially the big boxes. I mean, those are the most sought after. Is those old school classic, big boxes, and some of them go for, I mean, hundreds of dollars. If you have the right one, a rare one,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, hundreds of dollars. Doesn't matter what the movie is. If it's just a rare big box that's in decent shape, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, and I can
So I mean,
understand. Go ahead.
even those pornos. I mean, those pornos. Look
Oh
them up
yeah.
on eBay. They could be worth tons of money.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I mean it's. I think it's cool. Like some movies, I'm sure have have their own personality by watching them on VHS. Like a movie like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something like that. I think sometimes if you get the Blu-ray edition of Texas Chainsaw Massacre or whatever in 1080p or whatever, it could take away from just the grittiness of the film itself. And you're like, if you watch an old VHS tape from the 80s, you pop it in there and it's got the tracking lines and stuff like that, and it gives it a little bit more personality, I think, some of these movies. But you know,
Yeah.
I
Oh, I
haven't had a
totally agree.
DVR I could play in probably 3 or 4 years. I still have some VHS tapes, but I don't have a way to play them.
Mhm. And I totally agree. I mean, I've said it before. I mean, when I think of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I think of grainy, tracking lines. I think of renting the old media VHS tape that had been, was older than I was at the time when I first watched it, and had been watched and rewound and watched a million times. I mean, so it just added to that already sort of grainy look to the
Right.
film, and just gave it, like the Blu-ray. I mean, I've got
But
it
there
on
was the cover,
Blu-ray.
man. I have the. You
That's
remember
it
that
right
was the
there.
cover? I
Yep.
grew up. Yeah, the Texas Chainsaw Media
Yep.
cover. So
That's exactly the one. I love that cover. I love that cover. And yeah, so I mean, I've got the Blu-ray, but I don't want to watch it because I want to remember the film dirty and grainy, and so I don't know.
Yeah. It's all about preference, though. I mean, a lot of movies, I couldn't imagine watching like Jaws on VHS or something. I
Right.
think some movies are more theatrical. They benefit from the 1080p high def stuff. But like we were saying, I mean, I can understand people collecting VHS. I mean, there's people out there that collect 8-track tapes. So
Yeah.
it's all
Yeah.
about nostalgia, and everybody has different methods of their collecting madness, if you will. Like I've recently got into vinyl, um,
Yeah.
just because like I think for music, if you're a fan of music, the MP3 thing kind of killed out CDs, and I noticed at my Walmart just this past week they had like one aisle of CDs, and now
I believe we lost you. Oh, believe we've lost the CK. I know he was having some internet issues. Um, but yeah, let me see. Charlie Chalk asks, "Hey Piz, have you seen David Cronenberg's new short film Nest? It's on YouTube and is very bizarre. I have not, but I definitely will. Sounds pretty interesting. So I'll definitely be checking that out. Let me see if yeah, let me see if I can get CK back. I think he may have had some internet issues. Let's see if we got any other questions. Ooh, Drax007 asks, "Can you name three of your favorite psychological thrillers?" Ooh, that's a good question. Very first one that jumps to mind is Session 9. Awesome, awesome movie. Um, are, are you back?
I lost. Yeah, my internet goes out every once in a while.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought maybe you'd had some internet issues.
How it goes.
What were you saying?
I don't know where I cut off, but I just think that I think it was something about the personality about collecting vinyl. I'm not going to say it sounds better, but to me, if you get like a 30 or 40-year-old record, it still sounds pretty damn good, you know.
Right. Yeah.
And
Well, I've actually got it.
it's cheap, It's
I've
like
actually
you can go to the record store and get you can get vinyl records for some of them sometimes $1 a piece, and
yeah.
you can discover stuff that like what in the hell is this? Like I got this band just yesterday. The cover looked cool, and the name of the band was Wet Willie, so I picked it up for $1.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that. I actually picked up from my local used bookstore. I found they had the Lost Boys soundtrack on vinyl,
That's
and
awesome.
they had Blue Oyster Cult, Agents of Fortune on vinyl, and they were both like $3. So
That's
I was like, I
cool.
can't pass that up. I don't have a record player, but I was like, shit, I can't pass those up.
Yeah, I mean, no, for sure. I actually, a buddy of mine. Of course, I paid a little more than I would normally pay for a vinyl, but it was the soundtrack to Return of the Living Dead on
Oh
vinyl.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that on your
And
Facebook. That looks pretty cool.
yeah, and I had heard that the odds of that one getting even re-released, because a lot of these soundtracks are getting re-released.
Mm.
Um, you know, Death Waltz Recording Company in England's doing a lot of the soundtracks, and I think Waxwork Records. So a lot of the old movies they're getting re-released, but I think Return of the Living Dead, where that one has like a lot of just band music and stuff on there, the the rights fees and stuff like that be a little bit more difficult for them to do. Maybe someday they'll do it, but I haven't heard anything about that. That's a damn good soundtrack too, though, man.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember it in the film. I mean, it's really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, yeah. I saw you got that on. You posted that on Facebook, and I was like, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, actually, the
Uh,
same guy. Of course, I haven't listened to this one. There's a lot I haven't listened to. He sent me Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 soundtrack, which I don't really remember
oh,
a whole lot
cool.
about that one, but I want to check it out.
Yeah, I don't remember a lot about that one either, to be honest. But we had a question from Drax007. He wants to know what our three favorite psychological thrillers are. And the first one that came to my mind was Session 9. Do you have any favorite psychological thrillers?
Psychological thriller. Um, would Seven count as a psychological thriller? That's one that popped into my mind.
Yeah, why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Session
Um,
Nine's good too, man. I saw that not too long ago for the first time. I really enjoyed that movie a lot. It kind of freaked me out in some sections of the movie.
yeah, yeah, that's I saw that movie when it first came out on video. I heard a lot about it, and yeah, really, really good movie. Really good movie. Like it a lot. Um, trying to think other good psychological thrillers. There's two others that came to mind that I think they actually came out around the same time as Session 9. That's why I'm thinking of them. One was directed by Alex Winter, who was actually he was a vampire in The Lost Boys. He was also Bill, I think, or Ted. He was
Mm-hmm.
one of those. He was either Bill or Ted. I don't remember. It was called Fever, and I don't know if you can find that movie. If you can, I remember it being really good.
I
And
haven't
there's a
seen
movie
that.
with there was a movie with Jeff Daniels in it that came out around the same time too, called Chasing Sleep. I remember
Hmm.
it being pretty good. So if you can find those, give those a look.
Um, I'm trying to think of some more psychological thrillers. Um, what about Frailty? That would be one, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I
Yep,
like that one.
yep, that's a really good one. That's a really
Um,
good one.
I'm not sure. You kind of put me on the spot there. I always look over here at my movies and stuff and see if I can find another one. I don't know though. Identity. That's one. You remember that
Oh
movie?
yeah,
Nobody talks
oh
about
yeah,
that movie anymore.
yeah. Really, nobody talks about that movie. Yeah, that was a pretty good one.
Kind
Yeah,
of enjoy. I mean, it's kind of once you see it one time, it's kind of a one time movie. You know.
yeah, yeah. It's one kind of a one timer. Yeah. But I had mentioned we were talking about Scream Factory, and today Scream Factory they released some info about their Nightbreed the director's cut, which I remember them. They had announced that like a year ago, but they were calling it the Cabal cut. I thought. Now it's
Mhm.
just the director's cut. But they're releasing two different versions of it: a standard DVD Blu-ray collector's edition, and then a 3-disc limited edition set that includes some kind of booklet, something else, and like a special sleeve with some special artwork on it. And it's retailing. It's available to pre-order right now on Scream Factory's site for $80.
Holy shit!
Yes.
Oh my god! I didn't
Yes.
know that. I didn't know they were.
Yeah.
Oh, man, really?
Now the regular edition, or the DVD Blu-ray collector's edition, they're selling it. It's for regular price. But now this limited edition 3-disc, which they've not released what the actual special features are, is $80 man. I mean that's pretty hard. It's limited to 5,000, but still $80 is a lot. I mean that sucker better come like signed and numbered by like Clive Barker or something.
Man, I remember. Um, it was a Horror Hound Weekend show probably about 4 years ago when they had the screening of the Cabal cut when Clive Barker was there. I didn't go
Uh,
to it because I think the tickets were sold out or something like that, and I've never honestly, and a lot of people be like, "What the hell?" I've never seen Nightbreed. I've never even seen the theatrical version
oh wow.
of that movie. So it's not like I wasn't like all excited, I want to go see it because I hadn't even seen the theatrical version, so I wouldn't know what was new, what wasn't, whatever. But I remember people telling me that the quality of the print they were showing or the DVD or whatever was god awful. That it was like from a VHS. A lot of those scenes were had no audio, like no music or anything over it. So I'm curious as to what, and this is a Blu-ray edition. And it sounded to
Yeah.
me like they would have had to go back and re-edit the entire movie if they used that cut from from the source material. So, do you think they would have actually done that? Maybe that's why the cost is $80,
Well,
or
see,
did they not do that and just add a couple scenes here and there, and that's why they changed it to the director's cut?
no. Part of the press release was a statement from Clive Barker saying that it was, it was his version of the movie. It was all the scenes that had been cut, and this was the complete edition. But now they're doing two different editions. It's the same film. The director's cut. One is regular priced, and the other one is the $80 one. So I'm not sure what they're. I know the regular one is 2 discs or 1 disc. I don't remember. But the limited is 3. So I mean, I don't know what else they're putting on those discs. I know it comes with a booklet. They didn't really expound on what kind of booklet. But I'm thinking, $80. I mean, it better have some really awesome stuff with it. And I have seen Nightbreed a few times, and I like it. You can definitely tell that it's a little, it was cut quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm definitely interested to see the director's cut. I'm definitely not going to lay down $80 for it, though. I mean, that's just
No.
crazy. So I mean, they could definitely, they could say, it's coming out in October. So I mean, surely they're going to load that thing with, I don't know. I mean, Clive Barker's got to personally sign those things or something to make them worth
You
80
would
bucks.
think.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I was shocked
What the
when
hell
I
could
was
be
like,
on that extra
$80.
disc that would make it worth $80?
I have no freaking clue. No freaking clue.
Because
But
let's
I
be
was
honest,
shocked.
man. I mean, Nightbreed is not like that well-known movie either. I mean, I know it has its fans, but you're going to get people to pay $160 for the Halloween movies because it's Halloween, or
Right.
130, 140, whatever the Friday the 13th retailed for, because that's a big successful franchise. A lot of people love that series. How many
hmm
people really talk about Nightbreed? I mean, you know,
I have no idea. I have no idea. I was, like I said, I mean, I was shocked when I saw $80. I was thinking, man, this better be, because I mean, the Friday the 13th entire set was $88. This is one movie for $80. I mean, it's got to be absolutely loaded.
yeah, or like you said, maybe limited and signed or something like that. Maybe that's how they could justify it being $80.
Yeah, gotta be, gotta be, gotta be. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's $80 for Nightbreed. I mean it was the only thing that I can think of that's close to that, and it wasn't even. It was just a little bit over half that price. Was the Demons Steelbook that Synapse
Oh
came out with? They were like, what were those, about $50 a piece or something like that?
yeah. Yeah, they were at least 40, if not $50 a piece. Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
those,
So
according to Don May, those have sold well. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Nightbreed will people will buy it for $80, but I won't. I can tell you that.
yeah, I mean, I know Clive Barker has, loyal legions of fans, and there's a lot of people who want to see that. But I mean, they've definitely got to spice it up, man. They've got to throw some signatures at us. They got to throw a lot at you to make it worth $80, man. And it's not a steel book or they've not, it just looks like a regular Blu-ray with a slipcase, and that's it. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
We will see. I guess time will tell what all's going to be on that damn thing.
I know.
It's going to be an
We'll see.
expensive year for horror fans, though, if you guys are going to get all this stuff.
God, I know. Jeez Louise. My buddy Orc, shout out to Orc, wants to know what horror films would you like to see a sequel to, even if it has had some already. What do you think, CK?
I'm really excited about Trick or Treat 2. I love that first movie. Like, I think that's, of the last 10 years or so, that is one of the only movies I can say that is a classic, in my opinion. Some people don't like it, but I'm glad that Their Warner Brothers, I think, is doing the sequel, and I'm hoping that maybe it'll get a theatrical release. I'm doubting it, but I think that they really screwed up by not giving it a theatrical release back in 2007 when the first one came out.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. I think if nothing else, they'll give it like at least a limited run. They've got to. They've got to give it at least a limited run. But yeah, I've really not heard a whole lot about Trick or Treat 2. I mean, have they released any details, or is
No,
it
and
the
I
same guy
believe,
directing it, or what?
yeah, I think it's the same dude, and I believe it's supposed to be out next October. Not this year, but next year. At least that's what they were saying last year. So maybe I'm hoping it actually comes to fruition, but we will have to wait and see. As far as other movies, I don't know, man. I'm surprised that they've waited this long to do the new Friday the 13th movie, especially since that last one made so much money. That's kind of shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's a case of them overthinking it. Kind of like what they did with Freddy versus Jason. They overthought that movie for 10 years, and then finally they were like, okay, let's
Yeah,
let's do the only thing you basically can do with a versus movie. Let's just do that. Um, but yeah, I think they've overthought it, and they've tried to throw these gimmicks onto it, like found footage, and apparently now it's going to be in 3D, and I mean, God knows what else they've talked about in those meetings. I mean, who at one point they were even talking about Friday the 13th without Jason in it, for God's sake. So I mean, um, clearly
yeah. I
they're
don't
just
think that lasted
overthinking
too long.
it.
That
Thank
wasn't in
God.
there.
Thank God.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I think that back in the '80s, what made those movies such a success is it was a easy formula. They made these movies every year. They would get a crew together, give them a couple $1 million, and they would constantly make money every year. Because it's the same thing. I mean, people at the end of the day, people just want to see Jason creatively killing people. It has
Exactly.
nothing to do with, oh, let's get some dude from Supernatural in there. People really going. Nobody gives a shit. He could kill it. I mean, all unknowns, preferably, is what
Yep.
I would do. I think they should go back to the basics, man. I mean, just do a low budget, Friday the 13th film, shoot it in a month, have it out that October or something like that. You'll make money.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, that's what I've kind of been saying. You don't need a slasher movie, especially a Friday the 13th movie. It's its own gimmick, and this is the 13th Friday the 13th movie. So I mean, that should be your gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, and I don't mean this to sound bad, but I mean, those franchise movies, they're the McDonald's of movies. You go to McDonald's because every Big Mac you've ever had tastes exactly the same, and it tastes good. And you go to you go to McDonald's because you don't want any surprises. You know exactly what all the food tastes like. So I mean that's kind of what these movies are. But then when you mess with the formula, you let people down. So why I mean look at Jason Goes to Hell. Look at Jason X. They messed with the formula and people didn't like it.
Yep.
Um, so why even attempt it at this point?
Well, I think the studios in general overthink horror films too. I mean, that's probably why we don't
Yeah.
see a lot of them in theaters because, I remember because we worked with the Strand there for a year or two doing these screenings. The girls that ran the Strand, and and the Strand wasn't like a big chain theater, so I don't know if it's the same in bigger cities, but they told me that horror films were consistently the most popular films in a movie theater.
Oh yeah.
So, no, regardless of what was playing, if it was a horror movie, there would be more people than if it was a comedy or if it was a romance movie or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, I totally believe that because just being a horror movie sells itself. That's all you need to know. It's a horror movie. So you're gonna go watch that movie, like especially kids, out on dates or just kids hanging out, they're gonna go watch the horror movie because it's a horror movie, more than they're gonna go watch the romantic comedy or whatever. So, or the drama, the tear jerking, prestige movie drama.
Yeah.
So Yeah, I totally understand that. Is the Strand still around?
The Strand is only there, and then it's just standing. I mean, um, they have a for sale sign on the front, $365,000. For a
Wow.
theater, you'd probably have to put another $100,000 to get it back in working shape. So nobody's going to buy it. It's just sitting there. It's a shell. I mean, it's just collecting
Yeah.
dust, unfortunately.
Yeah. There's a classic old school theater in the town over from mine. Really beautiful on the outside. It's got one of those shit, I forget what it's called, but it's got the little glass case out front where you went and bought your tickets, and it
Oh yeah.
was it's really old school, and it's beautiful on the outside, but on the inside it's a mess, and nobody wants to put the money into fixing it up. Or I mean, it'd be awesome to go
Right.
watch a movie there, but again, it's a money issue, and
Yeah,
it's a
unfortunately,
small town.
and when you have the digital projectors kind of taking over, they're not really using the 35 millimeter films anymore for new movies. That kind of these theaters have to raise that money to put the new equipment in there, and a lot of them, like the Strand, of course, and the one you were talking about, probably just couldn't afford to put that $30,000 projector in there.
Yeah, yeah,
Because a lot of the times, like the way the movie business works, these theaters probably make 20% of the actual ticket money, and all their money's in concessions. That's why the concessions are outrageous through the roof.
right,
So it's not like
right.
they're really bringing a whole lot of money in, other than the concession money anyway. So I honestly, like in the next 10 to 15 years, I can see, aside from only the major cities, all these movie theaters going bankrupt and closing. I just don't see that. Just the way that we watch movies now. I mean, people, hell, I mean, if you go to a flea market here, you can get first run movies on DVD for like $2. The
Right.
bootlegs, of course. And that's how people, I mean, you don't want to, if you go to a theater here in Pikeville or whatever, you get two tickets is like $18.
Oh yeah.
And then
Oh yeah.
you're not even, you always have to get popcorn or whatever else too. You're going to be out probably 30, $35 just going to see a movie.
Yeah. Yeah. When I went and watched Godzilla with my girlfriend, we watched it at a really, really nice theater in Lexington. They had this new, it's called RPX. It's not quite IMAX, but it's kind of close to IMAX. And this was a matinee, keep in mind. One ticket was $11 and something.
Damn.
So, yeah. So that's a matinee.
When they got that
Um,
D-Box stuff that's out now too for these big action movies where the seat vibrates and you move around a little bit in your seat or something like that. And that's
yeah.
like, even like, what is that? That's like 25, $30 or something for a ticket to that, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, well, like when Godzilla roared in that movie, it vibrated through your entire body. So I mean that was kind of seriously. I mean that was kind of cool, but I mean you're paying for that experience definitely.
Yeah, I think we'll
But
see more. They're going to have more gimmick stuff like that just to try to get people in there to pay for a ticket. I mean, Blu-ray and stuff. If you got a good setup, a good TV, a good sound system, odds are your home theater is probably better than your local movie theater. you know.
yeah, well we actually did a Sausage Factory episode where we talked about that and what the future of movies were going to be and of home media were going to be. And I mean if you, like you said, if you've got a widescreen TV, if you've got surround sound, you've basically got the movie theater experience there, minus a kid kicking you in the back of the seat, and people talking during the movie, and people doing God knows what else during the movie.
Right.
So yeah. So,
Well, and we're
but we were
we're really lacking that. You know, Hollywood don't make movies like they used to. I mean, they don't make. I guess the Star Wars, the ones that's coming out next year, are the closest to that. When we went to see a movie as a kid, there were movies that were like an event. You had to go to the theater to see it. Like
yes,
the Batman movie, the Michael Keaton Batman movie. I remember standing in line when I was like 9 years old and going to see that was an event, you know. And the same thing with the Star Wars movies. And I think the closest thing we probably have to that now is like the Lord of the Rings movies and stuff like that, the
Right.
Hobbit and all that. But they don't have enough of those, you know, those type of films anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree. The event movies today are Transformers 5, you know.
Yeah.
So, but we were talking about the how all the the movie theaters are being forced to transfer to digital, and that's a nice segue into this question from How Bizarre. He says he lives 45 minutes away from Flashback Convention Center. It's his favorite con, and when he heard Robert Englund was going to be there in Freddy makeup, he was so excited until they said the price. He wants to know, would we pay $350 for Robert Englund in Freddy makeup? And I know you've talked about this on the show on Deadpit. You and Steve talked about it, and it was a very entertaining discussion. So, um, what are your thoughts on that, CK?
I would not only, you know, there's no way. I would never, okay, the craziest thing that I've ever done at a show was the Jamie Lee Curtis thing, which I think he mentioned, which was $80 to get her autograph. And I was like, shit, I mean, and I'm a hardcore Halloween fan, like I said, and I felt bad about doing that, but not only would I not pay $350, but I would honestly like to smack some sense in the people that would pay $350 for a fucking picture. Okay, and 9 times out of 10, when they look at that picture, they're going to think that's just some dude dressed up as Freddy anyway. I mean, I do not understand that shit at all. Like that is just, where do they come up with that price too? Which is $365, by the way. There's a $15 processing fee since Flashback Weekend has turned into like Ticketmaster or something. I don't know what the processing fee is. Where does that? How does that make any sense? You're paying $350 anyway. They're like, no, we need to add on another $15 processing.
Got to
Sorry.
process it.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've got to process it. That's sorry, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who. I actually know a couple people, I think, from my Facebook that are going and paying that, but $350 is quite a bit of money to me, and I don't make enough money to where I can just pay for a photo op for $350 and feel fine about that. I just can't do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, and you guys raised a great point when you said, you know, how much does it cost to buy a digital projector for this drive-in? I'm all for, I'm all for saving the drive-ins. I really want, drive-ins to stay alive. I don't want drive-ins to die. I'm all for that. But how much does a digital projector cost? You know,
Right.
I think you said what, 30K?
You could get a brand
And
new one for 30,000, but you could get, if you just wanted one that would work, you could probably get a used one for 10 or 15,000.
right. And $365. And here's the thing too. I can't wait to see those pictures posted on Facebook. I want to see what the makeup job looks like. I want to see what kind of background it is. I want to see. I just want to see those pictures that people have invested $365 into. And I hate photo ops at conventions. I've always waved the flag of no more photo ops. I think it's definitely just sticking it in and breaking it off in convention fans. But this, in my opinion, this is what a photo op is for. I'm okay with photo ops if it's like a group shot, or if it's somebody, like an actor who played a certain character. Like if you want to get Doug Bradley in Pinhead costume, or if you want to get, Robert
I'm sure
Englund as
that's
Freddy.
coming.
They're all coming. They're all coming now. Trust me. Kane Hodder as Jason, Doug Bradley as Pinhead, Warwick Davis as Leprechaun, Warrington Gillette with a pillowcase over his head. It's all coming.
On Friday, you'll have Kane Hodder as Jason, and then on Saturday, you'll have Kane Hodder as Victor Crowley.
So he'll be.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yep.
So I mean, that's what a photo op is for. But $365? Come on, man, that's freaking insane. But I mean, like you said, there's people who are going to buy the Halloween set for $188 or $118. There's people who will slap down $365 to meet Robert Englund and have their picture
Yeah.
taken with him as Freddy Krueger, and probably a lot. And I would just love it. They'll never release this information of exactly how many people, got that picture or how much money they made exactly. But I would
Yep.
love to know. I would love to know that figure.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking
Because you
about
did
it.
you did the math on the show, and I mean, what was it? If 200 people do it, I mean, that's how many, tens of thousands of
I think
dollars.
it was like 70 some odd thousand for 200.
Yeah.
Which, and Uncle Bill, I was talking to him about it. He didn't think they would do 200. And I was like, they'll probably do at least 200. Just
Oh
knowing
yeah.
how some of these horror fans are. And what we were talking about too is, and I don't want to say I know for sure, but I'm pretty sure that all of the convention money, like autograph money, photo op money, and all that stuff, they don't file any of that. Like, they don't file taxes on any of that money, and this money is going up and up. At some point, the authorities are going to have to get involved here, the government, and look and be like, hey, you made 80 grand taking pictures last weekend. We want our cut. And I am shocked that nothing like that has happened yet. And I'm not going to say I know for sure that they don't file that on their taxes, but I am pretty sure they don't.
I would say probably some of the bigger celebs do. I would, or not all of it. They probably file a little bit of it that they don't. I'm sure they're not filing all of it, and probably most of them actually don't. I would just say some of the bigger celebs probably do, because they know they're probably being watched closer than whoever.
Right.
Kane Hodder, you know what I mean, or Bill Moseley. But yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like, the first year I was at Scarefest in 2009, there was a woman walking around the venue handing celebrities envelopes. And I was at Danielle Harris's table. She just walked up, basically threw the envelope at Danielle Harris and walked out. And Danielle Harris opens it up, and it's Kentucky Department of Revenue saying, with an addressed envelope saying, send X amount of your money that you get from this show to us. And she was just like, what the hell? I'm not going to, just cursing and going on.
Right.
But I was like, this is, I don't know if that woman was legit, but she probably was, to be honest, because the way that because I mean, that they plug those shows to the nth degree. They're just out there on radio. They've got flyers everywhere. They're all over the internet talking about these shows. And people know they're bringing in tons of money. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, like you said, 200 people. And I think 200 people, I think that's a liberal estimate for Robert Englund. That's 73 grand. That's 73 grand.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love, and I would also love to know what percentage of that is actually going toward this drive-in movie theater.
I was thinking maybe that's the $15 processing fee.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that too.
Yeah,
I was actually thinking that. Yeah.
Because Robert Englund is not going to he's not going to do something like that unless he's getting paid very well to do it.
Yes. Well, and what I thought was funny was, like, all the the promotional material was, come see Robert Englund for the last time as Freddy Krueger. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's the last time he'll do it until the next time he's paid to do it. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, honestly, though, at the end of the day, too, you can't really blame anybody but the people that pay all that. I mean, that pay that money. And we've said this for years, I mean, that's the only way those photo ops are going to end, is if people quit buying them.
Yeah.
Quit forking their money over to take these prom pictures with their favorite horror celebrities. I mean, to me, I think like the pictures and photo ops look fucking lame. I don't know why
They
anybody
look.
would spend that kind of money. I mean, it's not like they're not professionally done. They are professionally done. At least the celebrity photo op people that do them, they do a great job with them. I don't want to say that, but it's like there's just a generic school backdrop. It's
Yeah.
for the amount you pay for a photo op, they should have like some sort of screenshot or something from the actual scene in the movie or something more personal than just you're paying a premium and you're getting jack shit like we were saying earlier.
Yeah. Well, I've never seen a professional photo op that I thought, oh, that looks better than what I could do with my own digital camera. That
Right.
my girlfriend or that somebody that I'm hanging out with at the convention can take. You know what I mean? I've never seen a photo op that I thought, wow, that looks awesome. They
Right.
they all look exactly the same to me, and they don't look great, I don't think.
I remember when I just saw this on here too, by the way. I wanted to mention this briefly. Somebody has the name Bloodbath and Beyond.
Uh-huh.
That was the original name for Deadpit, by the way, which we never used.
Ah,
That's so
cool.
bizarre. Yeah, because it was
Have you
after
got it? Have you got it copywritten?
no, no. I think one of the things we couldn't get the .com. That's why we didn't use it.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, what in the hell was I saying? I completely lost track of what I was talking about.
Talking about Robert England and the convention prices.
Oh, okay. The first photo op thing that I can remember they did for Fright Night Film Fest, Uncle Bill actually bought one for John Carpenter. This was like in 2010, I think, maybe 2011. Whenever he came to that show in Louisville, the Fright Night Film Fest or Fandom Fest show, whatever the hell it's called now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a photo of that somewhere on our Facebook, man. That was awful. That was like the picture on that. For one thing, I looked like a black man. I was like all shadow. Had I paid money for that, I would have complained. But it was Uncle Bill's money, so that was one of the bad photo op experiences. But the Jamie Lee Curtis thing, now it was $80 for the photo op, and Kitsy Duncan and those people from the celebrity photo ops, they did that one. I thought they did a real good job with that one. But the one at Fright Night the first year was awful. I would be ashamed to take $40 for somebody to give them a photo like that. Bad.
Well, and the thing with a lot of the photo ops too is like it's always a mess. I mean, like you said, there were problems with yours. Didn't they like run out of ink or toner or something? And like they held people up for hours while somebody like ran to Costco to get more ink.
Yeah, and it was something like a lot of the people's photos wasn't done until like Sunday night, which a lot of people leave, Sunday morning. And people were bitching about that, and I don't know, it was a big mess.
It seems like there's always I always hear people complaining after conventions on Facebook, and it's mostly about the photo ops, that there was some kind of technical issue or they didn't like the photo. I know when I was at Mad Monster Party earlier this year, they said who was it for? It was either the William Shatner or the Hulk Hogan pictures. I don't remember. Either way, you're talking $60, $80, $100 for one picture.
Right.
And they said that they were so backed up that the people who were waiting to get their pictures, they said, we can't give them to you. You'll just have to go home and we'll post them on Facebook, and then you get them off Facebook and save them. And people were.
Wow.
That's what they said. And I would have been livid too, believe me. If I'd paid $100, there's no way I'm walking out of there without that picture in my hand. No freaking way.
No. Or your money back.
Exactly. I want my money back, or I want the damn picture. You know what I mean? I'm not waiting for you to post it on Facebook. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It seems like there's always some kind of technical issue or something that goes on with these photo ops that just pisses people off. That's part of the reason why I don't want to do them, because I mean it's a pain in the ass and the picture doesn't look good.
what kind of reaction though, since you were there at the show? I don't think I ever asked you this. Did Hulk Hogan have? Did he have like a big line, or what was the deal with him?
Yeah, they had Hulk Hogan was the only celebrity that they hid away. Everybody else was right there out in public. Like with Fright Night and stuff, they hide people away. Like
Right.
they'll hide you can't just see William Shatner. You've got to pay the money to go back and see him.
You got to go in the
At
hidden
Mad
room.
Master, exactly. At Mad Monster Party, everybody was out in the open, and that's just how it was. Except for Hogan. They hid Hogan away in one of the back rooms. Now, and he had a big line. That was all I saw. He had a big line. But now they had him hidden away, so couldn't
Well, I
just
think
look at
his
it.
prices were pretty outrageous too. I think like everything was like over $100 for him.
His just if you wanted just him and you, it was $100. If you wanted him and Roddy Piper and Jimmy Hart, it was like $300 and something.
Fuck it.
Yeah. Now I did double dip on Roddy Piper because Roddy Piper was charging for autograph and for a photo, but I was like, what the hell? It's Roddy Piper. I'll fork it over. So normally I wouldn't do that, but for Piper, I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
No, but
I would.
I think all the wrestlers like they kind of charge for a photo and a autograph. Like that's kind of the thing. But a lot of them are really cheap though. Usually, I know the legends are a little more, but
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing those pictures of Robert England as Freddy from Flashback Weekend on Facebook. I'm really anxious to see those.
I'm curious how good the makeup looks and all that.
Yeah, I know. Oh crap, who is it that's doing the makeup?
Kurtzman, Robert Kurtzman.
Kurtzman. Yes, Kurtzman. Yeah. So he did the makeup for Part 5, and that wasn't a great Freddy makeup in Part 5.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's coming up shortly, in August or something like that.
I think so. Yeah, it's coming up pretty soon.
So we will see.
Jason, speaking of conventions, Jason John Maggs wants to know if we have any conventions lined up. You doing any conventions this year, CK?
Probably not. If I go to one, it'll probably be Scarefest for maybe a day. I'm kind of out of the convention thing. I was in it hardcore for probably close to 10 years there, going 1 or 2 a year and up to 6 a year, 1 year, which is crazy.
Wow.
I don't know, though. I mean, the Fandom Fest Fright Night thing, like that's kind of went on its own little, it's just not my type of show anymore, which is unfortunate because I at one point in time I really loved that show, but it's turned into something else entirely.
Yeah. I want to go to Scarefest because I mean I've been to just about every Scarefest with the exception of like 2. But they really their guest list isn't that great so far, and it's already July. So
Right.
I'm hoping they get some more guests.
I'm shocked they have Danny Glover though. Did you hear about that?
No, they've got Danny Glover.
Yeah, Jeff was telling me about it a couple weeks ago when we had him on the show, that they just added
Wow.
Danny Glover, which he's not associated
Okay.
at all, I don't think, other than one of his buddies is working on the show. So,
Okay.
yeah, I was kind of surprised by it. I was like, I kind of got to meet Danny Glover. I don't know why, but
Yeah, that would be interesting. That would be interesting. And I kind of, I've boycotted Fright Night Film Fest and Fandom Fest ever since was it 2012 or whatever. It was just a fiasco. I hated it and really, really pissed me off. So I didn't go last year.
Yeah.
So I didn't go last year, but this year they've really shied away from horror guests, and they've kind of seemed that they're going toward more sci-fi because they've got like a bunch of Star Trek: The Next Generation people and stuff there. So I don't know if they're trying to change gears or what they're doing.
I kind of know what's going on with that, but I'm not. Let's just say there may be another show in Louisville this year that's a horror convention, and it may be called Fright Night Film Fest.
Okay.
Which that
So are they?
I think that's
So
the
are they?
plan, that he's going to split the shows
Okay.
up.
Okay. So he's going to do the Fandom Fest and then the Friday Night Film Fest
Yeah,
separately.
yeah.
Okay. So, well, my girlfriend wants to go meet Brent Spiner, Data. So I may end up having to go to that show with her to meet Data. But yeah. So I think really, I mean, hopefully for Friday Night they learn their lesson from the last couple of years and they will maybe tone down on the guests, maybe not have as many Walking Dead people there because I mean they just
Yeah.
it seems like they've not been prepared last year, the year before that, or even the year before that for the amount of people that have showed up. So
I think last year especially, and last couple of years, they totally overbooked that show. They had too many guests. You didn't need that
yes,
many people, and it seems like this year, one thing I can say is he hasn't really overdone the guest lineup. It doesn't seem like.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
its own thing. It's the pop culture thing, not really the horror. But it seems to be a little bit, less crazy as far as big name guests and stuff like that, which I think is good.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. I do too. Absolutely, absolutely. And we actually had Jeff on an episode of The Sausage Factory, and we asked him. We were like, "What do you think about The Walking Dead? Is it the best thing that ever happened to horror conventions, or the worst?" And he answered it before I even totally had it out of my mouth. He said, "It's the worst thing that ever happened to horror conventions. It's the worst." I think he may have even called it the cancer of horror conventions. Was The Walking Dead?
Yeah,
And yeah, so.
I agree totally.
I absolutely do too.
But I think it's kind of
Absolutely
died down a little bit, though. It's not as crazy as it was a year ago.
I hope so. I certainly hope so. Certainly hope so. We've got a question from B Junior, our buddy B Junior from Endurance Productions, fellow Sausage Factory member. He wants to know who is the
Saxon
best
fan, too.
WWE. Big Saxon fan, big fan of beer as well. Don't forget that.
I know that. I've seen the
I get
videos.
all my
Saturday night vlog videos. I've seen them.
I get all my beer info from B Junior. He wants to know who is the best WWE tag team going, or who would you like to see team up as a tag team? I'll let you answer that, and I'm going to go grab a beverage.
I think the best tag team going. Let me see. I hate to say this because they are the champions, but I would say the Usos. I like those guys. I think that they're fun to watch. They're exciting. They should let them. I wish they would get on. They would let them get on the mic and give themselves more of a personality. But I think that they probably. I mean, they're one of the only actual tag teams right now. So, but I like the Wyatts as well. I mean, I think that I hope they do a feud with the Wyatts and the Usos. I think that'd be a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think the Usos are really like the only traditional tag team they've even got. It seems like most of their tag teams are just kind of like, we've got two guys that we don't know what else to do with. Let's throw them together and throw them, like Rybaxel. What else are they going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the Wyatt family, I think, those are two great ones. The Usos are great, of course.
When you have Stardust and Goldust now, they're a tag team, I guess.
I was gonna say Stardust and Goldust. Yeah, the revival of Cody Rhodes as Stardust.
Which is totally.
I think,
in my opinion, that looks exactly like something from like 1991 WCW. Like that was the first.
It does a little.
That's just like, it reminds me of something like the Yellow Dog or something like that. I don't know why.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I wish they would have a better sort of tag team division. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. All their focus seems to be on the singles, and the tag team division is like in second place, and then the the Divas are a very distant third. So.
Word, I hear you. I think they just don't do enough to give all these teams or wrestlers personality. I think they should try that a little bit more. I mean, even if it comes to accepting like submissions from the actual wrestlers for promos and stuff like that, some of these guys can think of some good stuff to do. Let them do it, because obviously these writers aren't really coming up with that much interesting stuff. So.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Let's see what else we've got going on here. Somebody says, "Hey Piz, I've heard by Robert Englund himself that they are rebooting the Nightmare on Elm Street series and making new films. What are your thoughts on that?" I've not heard that, but again, it won't surprise me. All they want to do is just reboot stuff over and over again. So
they definitely can't make a sequel to that remake, I wouldn't think. I don't see how that could exist in the world. I just don't see how they would do it.
Yeah, I don't get that one either. I don't see that one either. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Let's see if we got anything else going on here. Have you got anything coming up? Any big show announcements you want to make for Deadpit? Anything big coming up there? Any big guests in the future or anything to that effect?
I wish we could have guests. I mean, I just don't have the time like I once did to get a hold of these people, set a time where we can all do an interview. But I mean, maybe I think we're going to try for in September. We're debuting the new website, so we might try for a pretty big show then. So
okay, yeah, I was getting ready to ask you about the new website. Is it coming along?
Yeah. I mean, whenever I get some free time at work, I work on it a little bit, and it's going to be a lot easier to find stuff. You can search for shows, reviews, and stuff like that. I think it's going to be a lot easier for the fans. Plus, we're going to have all the old shows up as well. We're getting donations in for, because this is close to 10 years worth of radio shows we're going to have up there, so we're going to have to purchase more bandwidth and all that to make sure the site doesn't crash. So we're taking donations for that as well on the main page of the site. But yeah, I mean, that's the goal, to have all of the Deadpit episodes up. And for everyone that don't know, we've interviewed pretty much everybody you can think of, like as far as classic horror, 80s, 70s, 80s stuff. George Romero, we've had John Carpenter on, Angus Scrimm, we had Tom Savini, Linnea Quigley, Felissa Rose, pretty much everybody from Friday the 13th Part 5 over the years.
Yeah.
We did one of the very last interviews with Bob Clark, only a couple months before he passed away, which that was a big thing. Like to me, that was huge.
Yeah, that was...
simply because, I mean, a lot of people love Black Christmas and stuff like that, but A Christmas Story is probably one of my favorite childhood movies. So and I think we talked to him right around Christmas time too, and he was a really nice guy, and it was great to get to do that.
Yeah, I think that's one of my all-time favorite interviews that you guys did. But yeah, I definitely would like to go back and revisit the John Carpenter one and the Fred Decker one and the Danny Steinman. You interviewed Danny Steinman, Ethel, and Junior, all on the same show, right?
All on one show, yeah. That's a prime example. That's what I was talking about with Scream Factory blowing their load. We blew our damn load. Now we can't think of people that we'd like to have. I mean, I'm sure we could have people on again. Maybe we could do that. But yeah, I mean, we were like crazy. We were doing interviews every week there for a while, and sometimes those Friday the 13th shows, like the first Friday the 13th show, I think we had Betsy Palmer, Harry Manfredini, and Paul Kraka all on one show. 3 different interviews. Yeah. So,
well, I mean, I know, I've been trying to book guests for Sausage Factory episodes, and I know it's not easy. But I mean, I was shocked because I mean, I was, all you got to do is ask, and I was like, oh, so you said the answer is yes? Oh, well, shit, let's do it. I didn't expect you to say yes. Let's do it then. So, And we're actually going to make an announcement for the Sausage Factory in the next couple of days. We've got we're going to do another show, another live commentary in this month in July with a special guest. So we'll make that announcement here in a couple of days. We're going to do it toward the end of the month. So
awesome.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Let's see if we've got anything else. We'll go ahead and wrap it up a little bit. Little Rocker Cutie. Little Rocker Cutie. Little Rocker Cutie wants to know, what is your beef with Cinema Sickness, CK?
Oh God, I don't have a beef with him. I mean, I just think he's entertaining to me, and I actually owe him a lot of money. At least he saved me a lot of money. I don't owe him money, but no, I mean, for anybody that's not familiar, just search for Cinema Sickness on YouTube. The guy's videos are entertaining. They're, I mean, he's interesting personality. I just think like he helped me in a way where I was like looking at him and I was like, wow. I mean, look at all the money he's spending on this shit, and odds are he's probably not going to be watching any of this stuff. And it's just, I think there's a difference between collecting and being a hoarder, and he is more or less a hoarder in my opinion. I mean, my opinion, you know, nothing against the guy personally. I don't know the guy, but I mean, he accumulates probably, I'm willing to guess 60 to 80 movies a week, judging by his videos. So, I mean,
I've watched.
What can you say? Yeah.
I've watched a couple of his videos, and I mean, you know, the thing that gets me is, and I'm a collector, and I love collecting, so I don't want this to sound like the pot calling the kettle black, but there's just some movies I don't want to own as part of my collection. It seems like he wants to own everything. He wants every DVD. He just wants everything. And I mean, that's cool if that's your thing, but I mean, God, where are you going to put all that? You know what I mean? Like, I look over at my collection, and I mean, I really don't have a whole lot of more room to put stuff. And I'm pretty, at this point, I'm more conservative than I was about what I pick up. But yeah, I've seen some of his videos, and I'm like, God, why? Why do you, even if it's $1, why do you want Geely? You know what I mean? Even if it's $1.
And some of the stuff like he says in the videos too, which we, you know, me and about 2 or 3 other buddies of mine, we kind of point them out on Facebook every once in a while. Like, I remember one video he said that he would purchase movies that he hated just because he had seen them before and wanted that as like a trophy of, I've watched this movie. I hate it. I'm probably never going to watch it again. Let's put it on the shelf in alphabetical order.
Yeah, I don't get that. But you know, I mean, to each his own. If it makes you happy, you know, go for it.
Yeah, and if it may, you know, if he's found a wife that is willing to put up with that, more power to him. He's married. He's got a kid.
Let me
I
tell
don't know
you,
any woman that would put up with that, but that's not to say she wouldn't exist. But maybe he found her.
He's got a good woman. I mean, hats off to his woman.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's got a good woman.
That's for sure.
He's got a good woman. Drax007 wants to know, are there any horror franchises you guys want to see a complete collection of on Blu-ray, like Hellraiser, Romero's Dead Trilogy, Wishmaster, anything like that?
I'm excited about the Leprechaun set that's coming out, and I think it's priced to sell. I think Lionsgate, they're smart and I think it's even the new Leprechaun is in that set as well.
Yeah, it is. So, it is.
Is it 6 movies?
Oh, God, I don't even know how many. I don't even know how many Leprechaun movies there are.
Yeah,
I lost track.
6 or 7, and it's like retailing for $39.99, which means you're probably going to be able to find it for $24-25. I think that's. I'm going to buy that, you know, because that's fairly priced. I don't have any of those movies on Blu-ray. Not to say they're classic movies, but they're a couple of them are fun movies. I actually really love, I think it's Leprechaun 3, whichever the one's in Las Vegas. That's a fun freaking
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, that
Yeah,
one is pretty fun. If they and Walmart may actually have it for like $20. So I mean,
right.
it may even be cheaper than that. For
Yeah.
$20, I'll pick it up. For $20, I'll grab
Oh
it for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I'm kind of interested to see the Hornswoggle Leprechaun
I am
because
too.
the
I mean, I was
trailer looked
told.
the the trailer looked funny. The trailer looked interesting.
Yeah, it
So
looks like it's a slasher movie. Looks like to me,
uh,
which is interesting.
yeah,
So
yeah. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. I'll do one more question and then we'll go ahead and call it a night. Um, John Avenger asks, have you considered any new topics for Sausage Factory? We've probably got 2 seasons worth of topics at this point already. So I mean we've got topics at the yin yang. So
yeah, there's all kinds of
let's see.
topics. There's new topics there's new stuff that comes out new. I mean, there's always something to talk about.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let's see. I think that's probably just about everything. But yeah, I just want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight and hung out, asked questions, and had fun. And big thanks to CK for hanging out with me tonight and
No
talking
problem, man. I
movies and
love doing these
wrestling.
live shows and stuff. It's just fun. It's laid back. You don't have
Yeah,
to. It's a lot easier than editing like a freaking podcast radio show, which is not fun sometimes. You don't have to
yeah.
worry about it.
Oh,
It
I bet.
just goes up. YouTube does the work for you. It's fun.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, everybody, keep your eyes peeled for the new Deadpit.com coming out in was it August?
Probably late September, right before Halloween
Okay.
season, and we'll probably try to put together a pretty big show, 3 hour plus show on that night. I think the 26th is what it is, what we said.
Oh, cool.
That's
Awesome.
when it debuts.
That'll be awesome. Everybody keep an eye out for that. Go over to deadpit.com now if you want to donate CK a few bucks to bring back all those old awesome episodes with interviews from Bob Clark, John Carpenter, George Romero. A lot of really awesome stuff. Some of them I'm even on, so you want those back.
Yeah, Pizout,
So
you've been calling in on the show for I don't know how many years.
oh yeah, I was calling
A
in.
while.
It's yeah. I've called in quite a bit. So yeah.
Yeah, and we still do call-ins every once in a while, but I mean, it got to the point where we were doing so much per week, we just couldn't keep up with that. I mean, we were reviewing like 4 movies a week. We were taking calls. We were doing interviews and stuff. So we've kind of scaled back on the show quite a bit over the years, but we still do calls every once in a while. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for all that stuff.
Yeah. And all you Sausage Factory fans, go check out the sausagefactoryshow.com. We'll be making that announcement in a couple of days. We're going to do another live com in July, toward the end of July. We've got a special guest lined up. Should be a lot of fun. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. And until next time, for CK, I'm Pizow. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Later.